You are listening to the Centaku Media Podcast, a source for sharing interests beyond the scope of anime because we're in the center of other otaku interests. Hey everyone, this is Sandra Chan, your host of the Centaku Media Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 3 of the Centaku Media Journal. Thank you for tuning in, and if you've listened to the previous episode, this episode might be followed by the episode that should have been released 2 weeks ago from the release of this episode. That is even if this episode gets released on time, although probably will be a day or two late, but thank you for your patience if you are a returning listener. And I have a lot to talk about in this episode. One in particular is about the upcoming expansion pack for Final Fantasy XIV, which is something I've teased in the previous episode. So I'm sure you want to hear about that if you're out of the loop. Also, we'll talk a bit about a new anime series coming out that has another long title, because I know it's for the past several years there have been a lot of anime series coming out that has like maybe a paragraph or two. This will explain what it's about, but we'll get to that very soon. And also, we're going to talk about a long-running anime convention here in the US that's facing an uncertain future due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and a plea from the showrunners of this particular convention. But before we get into that, I would like to thank everyone that's been following on Twitch lately. I know it's been kind of a small trickle in for those that, follow or rather watch the channel, but we broke 30 followers, and I know it's not much, but that still means a lot considering how hard it is to get followers on Twitch. And, we're getting more viewers, not just followers, but more viewers as well. And of course, even if the games don't quite work the way I intended to, I'm just gonna wing it. But again, thank you for watching, and sticking around. Also, I will say, if you do have a Twitch channel, I do have a post that I wrote actually maybe 2 years ago that hasn't gotten really much attention, but I'm hoping that if you were listening to this and you're a Twitch streamer and you want to help out or at least get some, free exposure, there's a post that will be linked in the description and the show notes where you can basically plug your Twitch channel, but you have to follow the rules. Of course, I don't want this to be another follow for follow deal, but basically it's just a place for people to advertise their channel. So if you read the rules, you're set. Otherwise, too bad. But also, if you go to the Twitch stream, which I stream Thursday and Friday nights at 9 p.m., except for the last week of the month, which is my moment of Sin Week. So that way I can, recover, considering everything that's been going on. If you type in !promote, you also get more details about what I'm doing here. But yeah, I'm trying to get more, not just to get more followers, but I do want to build a community. Or, I don't know what the word is, because apparently some Twitch streamers that are helping other people say they don't like the word community, small streamers, follow for follow, and all that stuff. But I figured, I'll offer some space for those that will want to, try to get other followers as well. But anyway, that's enough about that plug. But anyway, going on to our first anime news of this episode. So, the anime I was talking about is a show that's based on a novel? I think this is based on a novel. Yes, it is a novel. It's actually being released by Yen Press. But anyway, this anime that's coming out, which is on April 10th, is called I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years and Maxed Out My Level. Yep, that's the whole title of it. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and I maxed out my level. I wonder what the short form of it, because there's another anime series, I think it's Konosuba. I think that's also another show that has a really long title, but it's shortened. And of course, one other anime series I'm actually a big fan of, actually I haven't read it or watched in years, and it's called Genshiken. And actually, that kind of, when you think about it, it's actually, basically, this is what kind of Centaku or rather Centaku Media is all about. Basically, Genshiken is all about, all that modern media stuff. You got gaming, gunpla, cosplay, anime. It's all about that stuff. So let's think of that's what Centaku Media is all about. So just think of that. But anyway, I was going off topic. But yeah, this show was announced during a live streamed event, GAFest or GFS 2021. The promotional is actually this is a second promotional video. Yeah, it's a second promotional video and also 2 new visuals for the television anime of author Kisetsu Morita and illustrator Benios. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and then maxed out my level. The Japanese title is called Slime Tashite 300 Nin Shiranai Uchi ni Level Max ni Natemashita. It's a light novel series that was announced on that Sunday of that event, which was on January 31st. The video revealed more information about the anime's premiere, and the event also announced the anime's theme song artist. The anime's main voice actress, Aoyuki, is performing the opening theme song, and Fratorte's voice actress, Asumiwaki, is performing the ending theme song. And the anime will premiere on the ATX channel on April 10th at 9 p.m. and then it will run on the Tokyo MX and BS11 channels at 10 p.m. Yen Press is releasing the novel series in English, and it describes the first volume as living a painful life as an office worker. Asusa ended her short life by dying from overworking. So when she found herself reincarnated as an undying, unaging witch in a new world, she vows to spend her days stress-free and as pleasantly as possible. She ekes out a living by hunting down the easiest targets, the slimes, but after centuries of doing this simple job, she's ended up with insane powers. How will she maintain her low-key life now? So that's an interesting show. I guess it's another what they call isekai show, and actually I noticed this has been a thing for the last 2 years, and I'm guessing... Actually, you know what? Just real quick, I want to type in what isekai means so I don't sound like a dum-dum. So, isekai, yeah, I think that's actually what it is. Yes, it is. Isekai is a genre of light novels, manga, anime, and video games that revolve around a normal person from Earth being displaced, transported to, reborn, or otherwise trapped in a parallel universe. So yeah, that's exactly what the show is. So that's what Konosuba is, if I remember correctly. I watched the first season of it for Anime Club some years back, and I guess it's like a cross between Sword Art Online without the angst and other weird underlying themes, according to my friend, because she watched a little bit of more Sword Art Online just because of one voice actor that she's a fan of, which is Bryce Papenbrook. But yeah, apparently it's like really dark and annoying at some parts, and like I only watched the first season of Sword Art Online. But anyway, yeah, that's exactly what this show is about. So if you are into that stuff, then be sure to check it out, which is on April 10th. And that's all I have for this particular story. But for those that are wanting something a little simple and maybe a bit of a rather educational approach, or rather I guess world history approach, we're going to talk a little bit more of Hetalia World Stars, which is a new anime project in the Access Powers Hetalia franchise. The official website for the new anime of Hidekazu Himura's Hetalia World Stars manga began streaming a new promotional video on Thursday. The video reveals and previews the theme song Chikyu Marugoto Hook Shintaina. I hope I pronounced that right, but it means I want to hug the whole world, performed by Daisuke Namikawa as his character Italy. The album with the full version of Italy's theme song will ship on May 26. The album will also include the long version of the anime's opening theme song, Hetalia no Kagaku Sekai, or Hetalia's Shining World, by Koinich. Koinich? Yeah, it's Conisch. That's how it's spelled. As well as an audio drama featuring Italy, Germany, Japan, America, England, France, Russia, and China. And the anime will premiere in spring of 2021. So for those that want to check out the theme song, if I can find it, and if it's not deleted, it will also be in the show notes. But otherwise, it's also might be linked in the official news story of this post on Anime News Network. So be sure to check it out if you are interested in more Access powers after a decade of waiting. Alright, so next and last news story I have for anime news is Crunchyroll. So this is a milestone they've reached recently, and being a streaming service, they recently reached 4 million subscribers. And this is a release from their official news story on their news website. So in July of last year, Crunchyroll celebrated a milestone of crossing the 3 million subscribers mark. Now, just 6 months later, the Crunchyroll family has reached another milestone, this time marking 4 million paid users around the world and over 100 million registered users. With over 1,000 titles and 30,000 episodes available to fans in more than 200 countries and territories, Crunchyroll continues to grow as the world's largest anime library. Crunchyroll also currently has over 50 million followers across social media, so it goes without saying that none of this would be possible without Crunchyroll's amazing audience. If you go to the official post of this story on Crunchyroll's website, there's a word from Crunchyroll host Tim Liu. And also, following the post, he states this: on a personal note, April of this year will mark the 10th anniversary of Crunchyroll News. Our first ever public posts were made on April 27th, 2011, and it's been exciting to watch Crunchyroll grow exponentially over the past decade. Like those before, this milestone is all about the community, which continues to be strong and passionate about anime and everything surrounding it. You're the reason we keep doing what we do both at Crunchyroll and on Crunchyroll News, so we can't thank you enough for your continued support and all the effort that goes into making this the best anime community there is. So congratulations to Crunchyroll for another milestone accomplished. That concludes our anime news segment, and of course, the next segment, if you've listened to the podcast before, I always talk about anime and then gaming and then music. So we're going to talk about gaming, and it's the biggest news of the year so far, especially for those that are fans of the Final Fantasy franchise and players of Final Fantasy XIV. So in the last episode, I was talking about the letter that was sent to those subscribed to Final Fantasy XIV. That is from the producer Naoki Yoshida, who also goes by Yoshi P. And basically, who was stating that he was thanking everyone for their continued support, and a lot of people that are in the who are frontline workers, either healthcare workers or I guess essential workers as well. The only way they can see their friends now is through Final Fantasy XIV. And that actually was, very, emotional, to see that. But, I know if things are, it's tenfold as far as emotions go. But also, he stated that the upcoming announcement, or rather the previous announcement, previously held announcement showcase, was going to reveal more information about where the story is going to go. So, with that said, and now that went ahead and squeezed in enough time just to get more information about this before I launch the episode, which is why it's probably late, the latest expansion pack for Final Fantasy XIV is Endwalker. So I knew this was going to happen. I'm going to talk about predictions later. When I say I knew this was going to happen, I actually kind of jumped the gun, but of course, it's a similar title to the previous expansions. If you paid attention to Final Fantasy XIV at all. But anyway, so the announcement showcase was held on the April 5th? Yes, April 5th. And it was at 8:30 p.m. and it was streamed on Twitch, YouTube, and Nico Nico. And I watched it on Twitch because, of course, actually that was my stream night. I actually had to postpone my stream just to check it out. But I didn't want to talk too much about it because I know people that might be, that were watching my stream. I didn't do a co-stream because I was also chatting too with some friends on PSN, so I couldn't really say much anyway during the stream, but at the end of the stream I went ahead and talked about it, about my thoughts and all that. But I figured this would be a platform to talk more about it, and also I'm still gonna do this. I actually might have to re-record it now that this is out, but I was gonna do an episode about Final Fantasy XIV and what I think about it or rather I might add an addendum to the episode, but the episode's like done recording, but I have to add to it probably with more Endwalker content. So here's the details about the new expansion pack. Square Enix revealed during a live stream event on Saturday for its Final Fantasy XIV MMORPG that it will release a new expansion for the game titled Endwalker, or the Japanese title Gogetsu no Finale, this fall. Yeah, so let's think about that finale part, y'all. The company also revealed that the game will get a PlayStation 5 version and an open beta version that will launch on April 13th worldwide. And the full version of the PS5 will be available after the open beta concludes. Endwalker, the 4th expansion, will feature a new job, which is called Sage, which is a healing class, as well as another job, which is a melee DPS, which they did not reveal during the event. I'm pretty sure it's for obvious reasons, but we'll get to that. Square Enix describes the story of the expansion. Endwalker features the climax of the Hetalia and Zodiac story, in which warriors of light will encounter an even greater calamity than ever before as they travel to the far reaches of Hetalia and even to the moon. In addition to bringing the long-running story arc that began with A Realm Reborn, registered trademark, or just trademark, to its conclusion, Endwalker will mark a new beginning of the beloved MMO and setting the stage for new adventures that longtime fans and new players can enjoy together. The expansion will also include a level cap increase from 80 to 90, which is expected for most games like this. A new high difficulty raid, yikes, a new small scale PvP content, new areas, a beast tribe, new gear and crafting recipes, a new residential district, and more. Game director Naoki Yoshida stated the new expansion release was delayed by the new coronavirus pandemic, which was expected because if it's coming out in fall, that means I expect it to come out in September. Because considering the previous expansion releases, it was like around the second quarter of their fiscal year, which is like around June, right? Yeah, I think it's around June. April. Yeah, it was around June. I think June, July, somewhere like that. So a free fan festival, digital fan festival will be held on May 15th and 16th. Also, Yoshi P revealed that the game's 5.5 patch, Death Until Dawn, will launch in 2 installments on April 13th and at the end of May. So get your feels ready, y'all. Get your feels ready, because it's like, it seems like they're putting a lot into the story, and it's like turning into like a literal like K-drama or J-drama, you name it. And like, you play Final Fantasy XV, of course, it's said to, it's expected to mess with your emotions. And of course, Final Fantasy X was the same way, in 7. Pretty much almost every Final Fantasy game, something never ends well. So I'm like curious to see where Endwalker's gonna go. But anyway, considering the name Endwalker, I was wondering if are they gonna choose another title that has basically 2 words that's basically turned into 1 word. So like, you got Heavensward, which is Heaven's Ward, and then you got Stormblood, which is Stormblood, and then you got Shadowbringers, you get the idea. So Endwalker, I guess, I don't want to go into too much detail, but actually I am going to talk about a little bit about what's going on. I got some more details to go over from this post I got up on Reddit, which kind of summarizes what Yoshi P was talking about. And anything that's spoilery, I will go censor it out in post. What caused the final days, which is what will be explained in 6.0. What will be the Garlean Empire's fate? What is Xenos' and goal? What became of Hetalia and Zodiac? And what is in the moon? There's also a new high raid about where in the screenshot they showed during the stream, he only has half of his mask. And also, Anima will be making an appearance, which was introduced previously in Final Fantasy X. And the Warrior of Light you see at the end shot of the trailer is a paladin. where in a previous expansion in the trailers he was a Dark Knight. And the release date will be in the fall. Of course, it's been delayed, as I stated already. And the 2 new jobs, of course, will be the Sage class, which was briefly revealed in the trailer, where Alphano is of this class, and the melee DPS hasn't been revealed, but I imagine it will be revealed during the Digital Fan Fest in May. And who knows, it might be an existing character that'll have this melee DPS class. And also, the story is not concluding completely, and after the expansion pack, moving on to 6.1, it will start a totally new story. So basically, it's like let's say One Piece. I think One Piece is a prime example of that. So you got this one long arc that goes on forever, and soon, when they're done with it, they move on to something else. And of course, this whole story has been going on since A Realm Reborn, when it was released in 2014. If not, maybe 1.0. But of course, I missed out on 1.0. But yeah, that's basically what's going on. So it's just a really long playable anime that's being played out right now. But anyway, yeah, so that's the summary of the details that Yoshi P was talking about during the announcement showcase. So yeah, just take all that in, and of course, like I said, I'll censor everything. So I'll link to the notes that's on Reddit, to that post on Reddit, although I added my own stuff, so it's up to you to figure out what's going on, or if you are familiar with 14 already and figure out what I'm talking about, then that's what I see it, but chances are it'll be bleeped out. So anyway, yes, that's all the details for Endwalker at this time, and of course I will keep everyone updated with new info as we get them. Alright, so that's it for Final Fantasy XIV, and we're going to talk about the unfortunate scrap projects, live action projects of Zelda, and a claymation Star Fox project that was scrapped by Nintendo after it was leaked by Netflix. In an interview with the Surf Times YouTube channel on Tuesday, comedian Adam Conover reported that Nintendo canceled both a planned Netflix live-action project of The Legend of Zelda and a Star Fox College Humor claymation project after the former project was leaked to press in 2015. According to Conover, Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto had already met with College Humor, with whom Conover was affiliated with in 2015 for the Star Fox project, but after the Zelda project was leaked, Nintendo canceled both projects. The Wall Street Journal had reported that Netflix was producing a live-action project based on Nintendo's Legend of Zelda video game franchise, though Nintendo later said that it would not comment on the rumors or speculations. According to the Wall Street Journal's report, Netflix's goal with the project was to create a Game of Thrones for families. Oh wow. Well, that's very unfortunate about the Legend of Zelda project. I do remember, hearing about this a while back, and I've had a feeling like it was going along, smoothly, but I'm pretty sure Netflix has a lot of, they have a lot on their plate right now, because I know they're working on the live-action Cowboy Bebop series, but I didn't think it was outright canceled. But that Star Fox claymation project, like, why claymation? I think it was just canceled because it was a claymation concept. Like, they could have just used CG for that. I don't know. But anyway. But Star Fox is an underrated series, so for it to be claymation and for it to be canceled, it's like, it's too much. And I know Metroid is another series that's very underrated, but I think that would do well as a live-action movie. But it's really sad that the Zelda project will never see the light of day, or will, and they just probably have to pitch it to another platform or something, probably HBO Max, but I don't know. Well, only time will tell. I know now it's not a really good time for stuff like that, so oh well. But anyway, speaking of gaming companies, or rather live action, or anything, well, basically people involved in the live action background, voicing background of video games and its characters. So Sega recently confirmed that Roger Craig Smith will no longer be the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. the voice actor who's also Gilbert G.P. Guilford in Code Geass, and also he plays Biba in Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. He wrote on Twitter about his departure from the role on Thursday. The official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account confirmed later that day that the actor will no longer play the titular role for the franchise. And he's been the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog for 10 years, including in the following games: Lego Dimensions, pretty much all of the Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games in the past decade, Puyo Puyo, Tetris 2, Sonic All-Stars Racing, and yeah, pretty much every Sonic game that's been released in the past 10 years, he's been a voice of. He played Sonic in cameos in the Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks Internet films, and Smith has also portrayed characters in video game franchises such as Resident Evil, Naruto Shippuden, and Soul Calibur. So, it's unfortunate that he is no longer the voice of Sonic, and I've been reading that it's very likely he would be replaced by Ben Schwartz. But of course, it's just a rumor, but like I don't know what they're planning for moving forward in the current decade. And I know they're working on a new Sonic series, so I mean not just a game, but no, I think it's actually like a TV show. And I know it's like, I guess on the same vein as Sonic. What's that one Sonic? Whatever. Sonic Boom, Sonic Blast. That one live action series that actually aired. Not live action. I said live action. It's CG, but it aired on Cartoon Network for a time, and it was like, what the heck is this? It's not what people expected, but yeah, it's. Well, we'll see. We'll find out what's gonna happen to Sonic, as far as his voice is concerned. He's been like not only in the. I don't know if he was even a voice in that character. I don't even say that unless I'm overlooking it. But yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, I guess he's just been in the games. But yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen. So I'll keep everyone posted, and I will find out if there's any information about this new Sonic series. But that ends our gaming news segment, and next we move on to entertainment news. So we got a couple to talk about here, and one is the official launch of Spotify in South Korea. So Spotify's been around in Japan for a few years now. Now Korea is finally getting into it, and it originally looked like they weren't going to get it anytime soon, considering that Korea has their own streaming services such as Melon, Genie, Soribada, Mnet. But South Korea, I think, is a good, market to enter in right now. So on February 2nd, it was announced that Spotify will be available in Korea. This is the latest addition to the nearly 100 countries that Spotify serves worldwide, with over 320 million global listeners. Well, thrilled to be able to finally launch in Korea, as we have been eager to welcome listeners, fans, and artists from Korea for a very long time. We're looking forward to working even closer with the entire Korean music industry to uncover more artists and connect them with fans in Korea and the world, while also continuously working on providing an ever-improving, unrivaled listening experience to Korean listeners. And this was stated from Alex Nordstrom, a Chief Premium Business Officer of Spotify. The app is unique not only allowing music fans to listen to their favorite artists from a catalog of more than 60 million songs, but also recommending new artists and songs personalized for listeners to give a try with their special algorithmic system. Spotify is also able to interrogate with a number of other apps, including Facebook and Instagram, as well as a wide range of devices such as Samsung Mobile and TV, LG TV, Microsoft Xbox, Bose, and others. Exclusive now to Korean listeners are new playlists curated and updated regularly by music experts in South Korea, which cover a wide range of genres, and not just K-pop. These are in addition to the already over 4 billion playlists already created on the app, which can be made by creators and fans alike. Here are some examples of playlist genres already made for each genre, rather. Okay, I jumped ahead of myself. Anyway, top playlists. So we got Korean music hot now, Korean music rising, K-pop debak, which is already available on the US Spotify app, might I add. Today's drama OST, Hot Now, and etc. For genres, you got your Korean city pop and the K-indie, trend chill K-R&B, K-rock spirit, orchestra Korean ballad, etc. For thematic playlists, you got End of the Day, So Cool Driving, Running K-pop, You Did Well, Next Page of the Breakup, Kitchen Melodies, etc. And starring playlists, which is also on the US or global Spotify apps. You got This is BTS, This is Blackpink, This is NCT, This is Twice, and This is Stray Kids. Korean listeners will also have access to Daily Mix, a discovery feature that allows Spotify users to have up to 6 individual playlists daily, just for them to combine their favorite songs of the app that the person thinks they'll love, and Release Radar, which is a personalized playlist updated weekly, which is basically almost every feature that we have already available on global Spotify. So they'll also get access to the same thing. So basically, they got more music than we do. So I will add that I have, like, being an old being what they call a young old head, and in this case a young old K-pop head. There are already a selection of older K-pop songs on there, but since this story came out, I have noticed there's a little bit more of older K-pop, like obscure K-pop, like even from like '89. I've noticed that they've made an appearance on there, so this is exciting that we get to have more on top of what we have already. And I will add that I was saddened a couple of years ago when I couldn't use Melon anymore. At least not for what I want to use it for. So if you dig deep in the internet and find out like hardcore ways to support your favorite artists like BTS or Blackpink or what have you, you can support them directly by streaming their songs on the Korean music apps. But the thing is that like in recent years they made it to where international people, or rather I guess foreigners living in Korea, they can stream it without any like caveats. But for Melon, if you downloaded the Melon app from a Korean, like let's say for Android, if you download the Melon app, okay, so here it is. I want to basically just spit it out there real quick, because I know I'm gonna go over my time I want. So what I did, I have an iPod Touch. Well, I had one, I don't know, I guess it's out of date now, but the iPod Touch, what I would do is log into my Melon account, and what you can do, you can browse the site in English. I think there's a part of the site that's in English you can browse, and it will let you buy a pass where you can stream or buy one that's streaming and download. So at the time they had it where you can buy a download and streaming pass. So I think it was like $10, $11 a month. You had to pay it every time, but I took advantage of that. I'm like, this is great. So I can actually buy obscure K-pop that iTunes doesn't have. So I did that for like a couple of years, maybe 3 years. I felt like it was yesterday that I started doing this, and all of a sudden, like, nope, you can't do it. But yeah, I did that for quite a bit, and I have like maybe a few dozen songs that, you know, I couldn't find up until recently on iTunes. And in the past 2 years, they actually made it to where it's just streaming only now. So you can only buy a streaming pass, no download pass. So a lot of the songs I heard, like maybe on YouTube or a Korean, music, a Korean internet radio station, like I really like the song, but I can't buy it. I couldn't buy it or stream it elsewhere other than just Melon. So I was like really sad. But with Spotify opening up, to Korea, that will increase the chances of certain songs being available to global listeners as well. And actually, I think I said this in a previous episode, and I wanted to do like a blog post on it to accompany this, but this would be a good segue into that. Of course, this is not on the show notes, but this is something to listen to, although I will post a link to that story I wrote a while back. I think I did it in a previous episode too, but just for reference, I will add it to that. There was an issue with the Japanese music industry as far as like them speeding up the possibility of adding a lot of songs to their library. Like if you go to, let's say, I think Sony, let's think of any Sony artist. Sony Japan, by the way, I might add. Just think of one that you really like. You go to iTunes, the Japanese iTunes stores, you might see they have quite a bit of discography of that artist. But considering that a lot of J-pop has been readily available, in the last several years, they're the only, like, Sony was like Sony, not the only ones, but there's still others. They like a definite holdout on streaming period. But Sony Music Japan, and in general, in just in comparison, they hesitated on putting anything available for download or streaming in the US, or at least outside Japan. But it wasn't until recently that I noticed a lot of their songs, like a lot of my favorite artists that actually happen to be under Sony, like Toshinobu Kabuta. He is now on Spotify, and you can now download his older albums on iTunes, and I was so excited. And also, I will add that I actually posted this on Instagram last year. I think it was last year, but anyway, Maria Takeuchi's Plastic Love is also available for streaming. So if you're a City Pop fan, get on that right now. Like, I'm really excited when I saw that. By chance, I just searched for it and it was on there. Like, I don't know if there was like a news story about it or what. But yeah, Sony in Japan, I know this from the past. I know my friend Sippy, who's, previously contributed on Centaku Media. He's talked about it on his radio show back in the day, that apparently Sony Music Japan were kind of iffy about releasing some of their songs on digital platforms, especially out of Japan. But they finally listened, and now they're sharing with everyone. I'm like so happy that they're doing that, and I do plan on buying a lot of Toshinobu Kabuta songs in the very near future. And also, the other holdout as far as distributing anything digitally when it comes to Japanese music is Johnny's. And I've talked about this too because the founder and president of Johnny's group passed away a few years ago, and it was met with like interesting criticism because basically they said, well, good riddance. And the reason for that being is because apparently he treated a lot of his artists bad, like his earlier artists bad. And even though he's passed on, I think it's still kind of lingering, his his legacy. His tainted legacy is still lingering within the group. And I think his wife basically took over, but I think she had to step down recently, if I remember correctly. But like, we're kind of looking at them now, say, hey, are you gonna release anything digitally soon? I don't know if they're on iTunes in Japan yet, but if they're on iTunes in Japan, not iTunes or Spotify in Japan, then it's just a matter of time before they come globally. But of course, Johnny's has just weird rules anyway, because I think also in the article I wrote, there was an issue with SMOP and a lot of their artists where if you look up pictures like from magazine scans or anything of their group, individual artists, chances are they're censored because they just basically want to protect the integrity of their artists because they have crazy fans. And of course, in Korea they have sansing fans, which are basically just the same. They're crazy. They go to great lengths just to stalk their favorite idols. So it's kind of controlled in Japan. It's actually, basically tight in Japan, but in Korea you just got pictures of your favorite idols everywhere. But anyway, I went a little overboard on that, but just a little background information about when it comes to Japanese and Korean media, music, especially. Like, it's like Korea, like it's funny because Korea, for Spotify, it's taken a long time for them to actually open up the at least have the service available to South Korean citizens. But like, although we've had more of a range of availability for songs, but Japan is like very behind, but now they're just catching up, so I'm really excited for that. But anyway, yeah, Spotify is in Korea, so if you happen to be in Korea listening to this, be sure to check them out. Moving on, so got one more piece of news. to talk about for those who are fans of Daniel Kang, who was previously in 101 and the group that was under the Produce 101 series. So he is reportedly set to make his acting debut in Disney Plus's new police drama, Our Police Class. According to an exclusive report from Ilgan Sports, Kang Daniel has been cast as a male lead role in Our Police Class, which is a drama about the youth of Korea and how they grow alongside their dreams, love, and difficulties at a police university. The struggles to stand out in a 2,000 student campus, one of the most conservative and exclusive campuses in the nation, will be told through the drama. Kang Daniel would play the role of Hui Sung-hyun. The son of the police chief at Dongbu Police Agency and a senior at the police university. While he is handsome and intelligent, his most defining traits are his manliness and royalty. His goal is to follow in his father's footsteps, so he ended up ranking first after taking the entrance exam his second time. He thought the university would be his next step towards his path to following his father's footsteps, but once he meets Kang, life takes an unexpected turn. This would be Kang Daniel's first official acting activities, as several dramas have proposed roles to him, but he turned them all down in favor of his singing activities. In addition, Disney Plus is not a Korean platform, but they are planning to produce Korean content. Our Police Class will be produced by Studio New, who work on Descendants of the Sun, Mr. Harurabi, and Beauty Inside. Beauty Inside, and then the second one was Miss Hammurabi. Okay, that looked a little weird to me, but I got it. Okay, so yeah, so excited for Daniel Kang for his acting debut, and that is going to be on Disney Plus too, which is probably a gateway for more Hallyu for those, whoever watches Disney Plus, and not have any idea what K-dramas are about. Hopefully this will, boost the Hallyu wave even more, outside of, at least in the US, and besides BTS. So congratulations to him, and I'm looking forward to this drama. I will have more updates on this drama, Our Police Class, as soon as get more info. So that ends up our entertainment news, and our last story is actually kind of unfortunate. It's not really unfortunate, but there's still a chance of a recovery. So Otakon is a convention I mentioned earlier. Well, I didn't actually mention, but now it's the first time I'm talking about it. So Otakon is just a long-running convention here in the US. And considering that we've pretty much been, going on now going on a year now without conventions, Otakon has been talking about the future of the convention, and they're also asking for donations. Otacorp President Brooke Searlaw announced in a newsletter on Thursday that the organization is requesting donations for the first time. The Otakon convention staffs are continuing to evaluate plans for 2021 and noted that the event may potentially close permanently. The newsletter explained that Otacorp, a volunteer-run non-profit organization, runs the annual Otakon convention dedicated to Asian culture. Because of the cancellations of Otakon 2020 due to the pandemic, the organization is in a precarious position, Charlo said. We use the proceeds from each year to plan the next Otakon and make sure we survive until then. So without the income for Otakon 2020 and the early pre-registrations we would normally see at this time of the year, we are in a very precarious position. Simply put, in the next few months we will have to make a decision to continue planning for Otakon 21 or potentially close our doors forever. The statement added that staff remain hopeful alongside the rollout of the vaccine. The staff are working with partners in DC to explore options to safely gather later this year. This year's Otakon is scheduled to be held at the Walter E. Convention Center in Washington, D.C. from August 6th to the 8th. Last year was canceled due to the pandemic, and it was scheduled for the July 31st, August 2nd. But they held their online event on August 1st. So, that's really sad that Otakon is the late. Well, I know a lot of not older cons, but younger cons, like any cons that haven't met their 5-year mark, they've made a difficult decision of shutting down, and of course, big conventions are not immune to this. Like Otakon, they've been around since the mid-90s, and they're in trouble now. And of course, since they don't have like registration to fall back on, they can't survive. So like I imagine what Otakon, like they're asking for donations. I don't know how they're gonna I don't know how they have it set up, but I imagine they would do something like Momocon did, which is when Momocon started out as a free con, it was free, but you also had the option of buying badges. Basically like donating to get a badge or something, like they're getting like a special edition badge or something. I forget how it is, but unfortunately I never went to Momocon when it was free. I went the very first year they started charging admission. I went, but 3 years prior to that, I'm not sure how it went. But I do remember browsing their website when I was wanting to go, and they said, "Oh yeah, the event is free. You still register, but if you want, you can donate and get some cool swags." If you're interested in helping out Otakon, be sure to check out the news store for Anime News Network, and also the link to that page will be in the show notes as well. But yeah, I hope that Otakon pulls through. I hope they find a safe way to hold the event. And I know this, even with the vaccine, will like it's effective, but with the rollout as slow as it's been, it might not have the desired effect for a lot of these events. And I know like Dragon Con, I think they're probably going to be another casualty in the convention role due to the pandemic, but chances are they could just reduce the number of days they could hold a convention, have a attendance cap. That's probably what they would look at. And actually, going back to Otakon, they actually had an attendance cap like several years ago, until they moved to the convention center in DC, because they used to be in Baltimore. But now that the convention center in Baltimore is undergoing renovations, or at least they've completed it, I think. I don't know, but it's hard to tell now considering the way things are. They could go back to doing that just for safety reasons until they recover financially. So that's probably what cons are going to be looking at. They're going to limit their ticket sales. So hopefully that's the case. And of course, something I've read months ago, as far when the first vaccines trial started, Ticketmaster said something about, if you want to attend a concert, you have to have proof that you were vaccinated, which I think is kind of not doable, because I feel like that's like a HIPAA violation. But I mean, I guess just to make sure everyone is, safe, that kind of makes sense. But I don't think they can do that legally for some reason. But I don't know. I could be wrong, but we'll see. And it might be another year, just out of an abundance of caution, they might not have any more concerts until like next year, beginning of next year, but we'll see. But I wish Otakon the very best. I'll donate when I can. I hope everything does turn out better this year, and some cases are going down, but of course it's probably something we're not looking at. I know there's different variants of the coronavirus that's out there, and hopefully those don't get too out of hand. So fingers crossed, and stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and stay home when you can. So thank you for listening to episode 3 of season 2 of the Centaku Media Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts rather, Amazon Music or Podcast, Stitcher, and a few other platforms that I might have missed. Of course, we're on Anchor, which is our host, so you can check us out at anchor.fm/Centaku Media. And also be sure to check out the blog, centakumedia.com, which is where you also find the show notes, and which the link for this episode will be in the show notes. Also, if you enjoy what I put out, be sure to donate. You can find a coffee link in the show notes as well. You can donate just a few dollars, just enough to buy me a cup of coffee to get me through going through more content, and also any costs added will be put towards the bills for the host, and possibly maybe a better like better hosts for anything, anything that improve the website. Every little bit counts, so I appreciate it if you do that. You're not obligated to, but again, thank you if you do. And also, I stream on Twitch Thursday and Friday nights at 9 p.m. where right now I'm streaming Final Fantasy X and Shenmue 3 on those respective nights, except for the last week of the month where I take a break for mental health reasons, and also every other week of the month outside, of course not counting the week off, or rather counting the week off, which I don't stream at all on that week. I started doing anything goes gaming sessions where I choose one game out of 3 games from random based on the platform, and I'll play them for a little bit just to see how I like it, just to kill the time. So it'll be every Friday. I think I said Wednesday for some reason, but Wednesday was an option before, but it's Friday, every other Friday. So anyway, thank you for watching. Also, check us out on social media at Centaku Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and also on YouTube at Centaku Channel, where more video content will be coming in the future. Until next time, so long. Forget this.